Well, say, folks, this is Bob Ferguson again. I did an interview with Ty Ward for our Fairfield school elections coming up, and I was asked to do a couple more interviews for a couple of people, and I did a little bit of research, and I've really found that these two candidates that I'm also going to be interviewing, Cody here and Kelly later on this morning, also really reflect my values and reflect people who I think would do an excellent job for us on the school board. So Cody, thank you for showing up. Cody Bauer.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Bob. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running and why you think public education is so important that you're willing to pull time off from your very, very busy life to serve us.
Thank you. My name is Cody Bauer. I moved to Fairfield in July of 2020. If anybody's ever done anything crazier, it maybe moving during a pandemic. I don't know, but the reason that we moved here was for my spouse's job. She's an incredibly talented individual, and really happy to be connected with her. So I wanted to give you a brief introduction to what I do as a career, and then tell you a little bit about why public education is important in general as well. So appreciate the question. So I work for a division of Staples. I'm a senior manager there, and one of the things that I think really fits in terms of my skill set that really connects with the school board is that I run three teams. And those three teams are problem solving teams. What they do is they get problems that don't always necessarily fit into a standard size box for what we deal with at our division of Staples, and we work hard and we collaborate with a lot of other teams to find a resolution for the issues that are coming up that works for everybody. So we're very collaborative together, and sometimes there are conflicting goals, but we always work together to find a solution. And I think that really kind of fits in with school board leadership and what kinds of qualities are important for people to serve on the school board. Why public education is important? Well, let me actually answer that question by telling you a story. So kindergarten through fourth grade, I went to a private school in my hometown of Fairfield, Minnesota. In fifth grade was the first time I went to a public school. And fifth grade, I had a teacher, his name was Ed Lozon. He's a really, really incredible educator. And he sat me down after the first couple of months of school, and he said, "Cody, you're really smart, but you're not applying yourself." So you're not living up to your potential, I think is something I'm paraphrasing,
Yeah, right. It was in fifth grade, but
it was
after
a
all.
while ago. So, but what he did is he sat me down and we worked together to develop some tools that would help me to live up to my full potential. And I am forever grateful to him for that. And that is one of the many reasons that I believe that public education is important, because every student needs an advocate, right? Our students, our children, our community's most valuable resource, and they require careful stewardship. So that's what I hope to do.
Yeah, it is so important because there's so many issues that people feel very strongly on opposite sides sometimes. Having that background of being able to harmonize diversity and find solutions that work for everyone, yeah, that's a really big deal. So on that topic, what do you think the issues are that are the most pressing? What are you anticipating working on should you get elected?
That's a great question. And I know that, a lot of people may say, well, there's no way you can really know that being new to the community. But what I've done is I've made an effort to talk with people who are very connected, talk with people who have a history with our local school districts. And through those conversations, and by the way, I intend to continue those conversations. That's really important to me.
Yeah, please do.
We'll get to that in a minute. But those conversations led me to realize that our school buildings themselves are in dire need of updating. They are in disrepair, many of them, potentially even on the verge of having safety issues. So we really need to look closely at figuring out a way to resolve that, whether it's through updated bond issue or whether it's looking at repairs or looking at creative ways of fundraising in another way, right? So I think that is probably one of the most pressing things. And then I think Fairfield is not unique in the country. We have an issue with recruiting great teachers. And I think that's a nationwide problem. But I think that, the focus for this school board needs to be on a
Yeah,
local level. So thinking about things in a creative way, maybe differently than things have been thought about in the past, could potentially drive us towards having better and higher recruitment.
that's great. So without getting too far into the weeds, what kinds of things do you feel that we need to think about in terms of recruiting great teachers? What are some of the issues rather than solutions? What are some of the issues that we have to wrestle with in order to make that happen?
Sure. Well, school boards are pretty restricted by what the state legislature passed in 2017 in terms of how much money they're allowed to spend on salary and how much money they're able to work with. And so that is one of the main things that is a hindrance, right?
Hmm.
So looking at creative ways to address that is going to be key. And then on top of that, what I've been hearing anyway is that there's kind of a tendency to kind of be reactive to applicants, right?
Mhm.
And I think that I would love to see us take a more proactive approach and really, again, collaborate with more local community partners, folks like the chamber and Visit Fairfield. Fairfield has a very robust business community, and I think that there's a very, very strong entrepreneurial community here. I think that we can all kind of work together to collaborate and really show Fairfield for what it is, the shining star that it is, to really attract people not only to the position within the school district, but also to attract them to the community.
Well, sign me up. I'll throw the Sustainable Living Coalition into the mix on that. So
Love it. I love that.
that's great. So basically, in a nutshell, your conception of the role of the school board, and again, it's constrained legally. You can only do so much, you can only spend so much, but particularly given those constraints, and you live in the business environment filled with constraints, that's the very essence of what you deal with. Why problems come up, you got constraints. So within those constraints, what really in essence is the role of the school board in your view?
Sure. So I believe that every elected official, right? So someone who sits on the school board is an elected official. And I believe that every elected official's responsibility is to hear and execute the will of the people, right? So we need to be making a concerted effort to talk to the community, to talk to parents, to talk to teachers. There is a group of people that work in the school district that often aren't heard from by the school board, whether it be education support professionals. Are we listening to our bus drivers? Are we listening to our paraprofessionals, our maintenance staff? Are we listening to the people who are not necessarily working in the classroom? Obviously, it's really important that we listen to our teachers too, but I think it's really important to have all of the voices at the table because this position really is a position of the people. It's a volunteer position, and it's important that we have as many voices at the table as are willing to be there.
That's great. And so lastly, what do you feel is at stake in this election? Why is this election particularly important?
I think that we are at a point in our community's history, we're at a turning point. The decisions that are made over the course of the next several years are going to influence the future of Fairfield's public education system. And so I hope that parents, I hope that community members agree and that they want a strong public education system. And I believe that I would be an excellent candidate to help propel that vision forward. And I want to listen to you. I want to listen to community members and hear what's really important to them. So go out and vote November 2nd.
There we go. I think that's the bottom line. Cody, thank you very much for being with me today. It's a pleasure. I look forward to more conversations after you're elected.
Thank you so much, Bob. I
All
really
right.
appreciate that.